Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com. And wow, for some strange reason, I am just in the dark tonight. I've got both the lights on, aimed at me, but it's like there's, I don't know, did I turn on some kind of a filter that I'm not aware of? Anyway, you're not here to see me anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm superfluous to the whole show. You are here, of course, to meet our guests. And tonight we have another author with us tonight. We're going to get away from comic books for at least a night, and we're going to talk with author Declan Finn about the various genres of books that he writes. Various genres, but one genre in a way. So without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Finn to the show. Declan, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
Oh, well, you know what? It's Friday night, and it may as well be Monday morning. My whole weekend is already planned out, shot. That idea I had of sleeping in, no good. So I've got things to do tomorrow that I have to have them done by noon, which means I've got to drive an hour to get there. And then I come back. It's like, well, what do I do now? Saturday afternoon, it's over. Plan a show, and then Sunday morning I have things scheduled in the morning. Got to get up just like it's a work day, and drive again. So.
Yeah.
So, okay. Who's got the bad echo? It's just Doug. It must be me because I'm the only one talking. I don't hear the echo. Do you hear an echo, Declan?
Not on my end.
Okay. That's strange. It is a new laptop, but I have been using it for a week now, so it should be broken in, so to speak. But maybe not. We'll see. It should be. This microphone's the only one on. I've had situations before where I've been on the show and both this microphone and the laptop's microphone are both on at the same time.
Yeah, read the comments. He had two windows open.
Oh. Well, that we should have just been twice as loud. That's I have to try that sometime. I've never tried listening to somebody's show in two different windows. Very cool. So, all right. Well, thanks for keeping an eye on us anyway. Wayne, welcome to the chat here, sir. Glad to see you out there. Was just telling Declan that we had you on last week doing the true crime novels and such. Mr. Big himself. So, Declan, you're a busy guy. You're running a newsletter. You're promoting other authors all the time and doing your own books. I can't imagine because I've got the same kind of jobs to do and I can't do them all. How do you find the time to pull it off?
I honestly don't know. I get up, I roll out of bed into work, and I start working from usually 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night. And and when I'm not working, from 5 o'clock until I hit the hay, that's what the phone's for. It's like, yeah, just keep updating.
Well, you got to write a book somewhere in all that time too.
Oh yeah, well that is part of the 9 or 8 to 5 shift.
See, my 8 to 5 shift belongs to somebody else.
Okay.
That's where the difference lies.
The difference is this is my full-time job. It really is.
I, like you, roll out of bed into work. Literally, the bed's right here. The work's right here. So If the seat would just recline, I would just sit up and start working.
Yeah, I understand that feeling. I'd also be tempted to do the same thing, but my wife wants to see me every once in a while. So.
Every once in a while, yeah. Okay, well, lucky you. She hadn't forgotten you don't walk out of the office and she turns around in the kitchen and goes, because she sees that strange man coming through the kitchen there. That's been known to happen. Trust me, I've been there.
Well, thankfully, I'm also the one who cooks in the house, so that's one of the reasons why I am downstairs at 5 o'clock. It's like, okay, gotta cook.
Okay, so she expects you then. That's good. How many titles do you have out there already in your bibliography, whatever?
I have just been saying 30 because if it's not 30 at this minute, it will be by the end of March.
Okay.
And it's all over the place.
And because the last time you were here, we were talking about the St. Tommy books, and those are still going, right?
Oh yeah, those are still going through my publisher, Silver Empire Press. We've had some issues because we have a printer in California, and California has its own problems.
Yes.
Then again, looking from, I am in some cases a New York chauvinist. It's like, well, California is its own problem, but I try not to.
New York is the publishing empire of the world.
Don't get me started on that. It's like some of these days, it's like, so why are you people still in New York? You've got the highest rents, you've got the highest overhead, you don't need industrial publishing anymore, you've got print-on-demand technology. What are you doing? But that's a quibble for another show, and I don't know how much inside baseball your listeners enjoy.
Well, because it gives them the New York address, and that there's a prestige that comes with that. I used to work for a major cosmetics company. I worked for their IT department in their manufacturing plant. Their manufacturing plant is in Little Rock, Arkansas, but the name of the cosmetics will always say New York on the label because that's where the marketing department is. And their job, of course, is to find as many different ways as they can to say pink.
Now, hey, I have no problem with, hey, our marketing people are in New York, our P.O. box is in New York. That's fine. You've got the address and prestige that comes with it without having the New York overhead. But
yeah,
and it's not even technically New York itself, because there are 5 boroughs, 3 of which are halfway livable. We won't talk about Manhattan or the Bronx, but everybody decides to work in Manhattan, and it makes no sense whatsoever, especially nowadays.
Yeah, if you're gonna work there, you may as well live there, and you can't because you can't afford it.
No.
So we talked about the St. Tommy books being the last time here. Can you, for the people who weren't here last time, which probably everybody, I drive everybody away, so everybody's new. Can you fill them in on who St. Tommy is and what that series is about before we move into the White Ops stuff?
Sure. St. Tommy NYPD follows a detective, Thomas Nolan, who one day discovers he has charisms of a saint. If you're wondering what a charism is, it's basically
it's singular charisma, right?
Think of it as gifts from God, or superpowers if you prefer, of certain saints, miracle workers, wonder workers, whatever title you like. It includes bilocation, smelling evil, levitation sometimes, and among other abilities. And the day he finds out that he has one of these abilities, he also discovers a second ability, smelling evil, which unfortunately leads him straight to a possessed serial killer, who promptly tries to kill him and half the precinct. And we're off to the races from there.
What does evil smell like? You've got to describe this for your readers.
I described it as a cross between a decomposing corpse that's been left in the East River for a month in August.
Pungent.
Yeah, I have often, most of the time, whenever he smells evil, I have him coming close to vomiting all over the place.
Yeah, and I'm kind of reminded of there was a comic book superhero, Nightman, and
Mhm.
he had the ability to read people's thoughts, but only the evil thoughts. And I remember when it came out in the '90s, my friend and I we would discuss like, so what is an evil thought, and why does he have to act on it? I mean, doesn't it sort of and this got into we got into the realm of personal convictions. So like if a Jewish guy is walking home and he's like, I'm going home, but I'm going to stop and have a bacon sandwich at the deli first. Is that an evil thought because it's against religious stricture for the person in question? Uh, so so you have a strict set of rules here because it's a
Oh yeah.
Christian book, a Catholic based book.
Oh yeah.
So evil there has a Catholic definition of what.
Yes. In this case, I'm going for mortal sins only because the few people he's had this experience with have been possessed, have been, killing people since they were 12, uh, and, serious mortal sins.
Okay, but that's murder. And this, I, I'm just wondering now because there's 7 of them,
Mm.
and do they each come with their own odor, and what might they all smell like? But that's
Oh no,
some.
I make certain to not have them distinguishable by scent because after a while that just gets too easy. There's one charism where you can distinguish lies from falsehoods, and it's like he's a homicide detective. If I give him this ability, there will be no mystery whatsoever.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it's almost too obvious. You say you walked into the room and it smelled like somebody dropped 50 gallons of Chanel number 5. Oh, lust happened here. So we will we'll move on from there. The book series that you've been pushing right now, promoting right now, is the White Ops, and that, obviously what we always think of is black ops operations that are off the books.
Mhm.
Secret things, clandestine killings, assassinations, and such. What's a white op?
White ops in this case are in this universe, which is mostly a space opera, because I throw in everything, including the kitchen sink. Uh, is basically White Ops is basically an operation where, yes, it is laudable. However, we have to keep it under wraps because we don't know the bad guys to actually know that we are aware of their existence. Because the premise is we've got an alien invasion from another galaxy. They're trying to be covert, and from what little we know about them, they could probably kick the ass of anybody they come across. So while our heroes are trying to prepare overall defenses, White Ops is the quick strike team to fight these guys in the shadows where they're hiding, and stop whatever it is we know that they're doing. And so White Ops, it's Spec Ops only for the side of light.
Okay, and again, you're pulling these off so that even when the job is done, the aliens don't know that we're on to them. We know
Correct.
that we know they're there. So things have to look like accidents. Things have to look like natural causes.
Mhm.
Bullet holes. You're gonna have to find something more creative than that to kill and or foil.
If there are bullet holes, burn the body with fire.
Yep. Disappearances are much easier. You got 3 books in this series. You got the the White Ops, the titular. I say titular. I think titular sounds dirty in a juvenile sort of fashion. Whenever I hear it, just kind of hear Beavis in the back of my head going. But yeah, you got the titular White Ops, then Politics Kills, and Main Street DOA. Uh, and I know it's all the same space opera, but they look so different on the covers. Did you have the same cover artist? Do you do your own covers or?
I do not do my own covers. I can give you 2 examples sometime, but not tonight. I don't want you to scare you away. But on the one hand, I've got some halfway decent covers, but by the time I was done making them, I was going through eye strain, and it's like, I have trouble seeing enough, thank you. As for the cover artist, through going through Tuscany Bay Press, they basically shop through previously established, and they try to mix and match the books to the covers, and they're not originally generated for each cover.
Okay.
We've had some modifications done, obviously not an awful lot, but the 3 books are have a slightly different feel to each of them. The first one is establishing the world, and establishing the team, and the second one is kind of a continuation of that storyline, except everything else hits the fan at the same time to such a degree that, well, there's a lot of interspatial politics involved. Sorry, interstellar politics. That's more accurate. And it comes to the point of, well, what's going to kill them first? The politics or the actual war?
Oh,
And
so a Vietnam fable.
I wouldn't go quite that far. And, you know, probably more analogous is, yes, we have finished the battle with Sauron, and now we have this problem back in the Shire. If you folks have no idea what I'm talking about, read the books by Tolkien, don't see the movies. But, and the third,
go faster.
probably. And the third one, Main Street DOA, is after the major wars are over, our heroes, the strike team of White Ops, work under an alien bureaucracy. Their immediate superior is the head of the bureaucracy. And she goes, so, you fought all these wars. You have fought all these battles. Now that things are starting to quiet down a little, what do you expect from you and your team? Now, the original line was, and our hero's a smartass. His first response, a completely knee-jerk response, is, I thought I was going to take them to Disney Planet. And it's like, yeah, don't joke with the alien who don't understand your references, because they'll take you seriously and say, you know what, that is an excellent idea. You deserve R&R. The alien members of your team could use this opportunity for anthropology and to understand your culture better. And our guy's going like, crap, I have to learn how to stop mouthing off eventually.
Yes.
And, you know, we're going to send them straight to what is not Disney Planet anymore. I forget what we wound up coming up with, because Disney is trigger happy with lawsuits.
Oh, yes.
And although we still kept Main Street DOA. And once they arrive, they spend a day or two. Some of them are doing fairly well, and some of them are losing their mind with boredom. But luckily for all concerned, terrorists take over, hold the entire planet hostage, and they have something to do.
Oh, thank God.
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned something about alien overlords, bureaucracy, and all that. So going back to book 1, when they discovered there's an intergalactic alien invasion happening, there's already alien presence on Earth, you're saying?
Oh, by this point, it's the 2360s. Earth has run into a whole bunch of aliens. Most have their own problems, so they're not interested in invading. And first contact in this universe happens in the late 21st century. And, you know, the aliens show up. They find humans. They're looking around from orbitals, going, all right, do we want to approach these people? Well, let's approach their planetary leader. Who is it? Well, the alien race called the Renar, who are one of the good ones. they're looking around and they're going, well, going by our own culture, which is heavily into robes and color coordination for caste and rank, etc. They look around and it's like, okay, we got this one guy who talks to everybody on the planet. They have diplomatic contacts and relations. They have constant communications. And he wears a solid white robe. And from what we can tell of their language, the term pontiff means he's a really important figure. So this guy they call the Pope must be in charge of the planet.
Must be.
So they do a covert landing. They say, hi, we'd like take me to your leader. And it's a matter of, okay, you're right. Human beings will probably freak out a little. I know I'm freaking out a little. We do a few days. We take a few decades. We do that a lot around here in the Vatican. We'll prepare people for you to show up and for alien life, and we'll take things from there. And so that establishes the relationship a little bit. They also take away the aliens, the Renar, take away the premise of privateers, where it's like, wait, you've got a concept where people will hunt, these privateers will hunt down bad people, kill them, take their money, and use this money in order to continue doing good deeds. This sounds like a great idea. We're going to implement it back home. And
we can teach them so much.
Yes. So you take that into an alien culture, shake well for 300 years, and you wind up with what they call the Totentans. If you speak German, yes, I may have stolen one or two phrases. And so the literal translation is those who dance with death. Contextual, it's those who sentinels against death. And the white ops are a subsection of the Totentans. One translation for Totentans are simply rangers. And then I realized that is the most generic phrase in all of science fiction and fantasy. So I had to use something else.
Yeah, there's a lot of rangers out there. And they're usually Starship Rangers or Space Ranger.
Or Texas Rangers in space.
Yeah, that too. Which makes no sense because you would think once you were above a certain elevation, you'd be out of jurisdiction. Unless there's like this giant Texas-shaped tube going through the universe that, well, if it happens in here, it's ours.
There is a saying among Texas Rangers that their jurisdiction is wherever is within their line of sight.
Okay, I can dig that. Now, St. Tommy's was a very religious, it's Catholic fiction. I think that's the proper genre or close genre. White Ops obviously begins with them talking with the Pope to say, hey, introduce us to your planet. Does this give the Pope more power, so to speak? Because I mean, he's now not only just the the Holy Father, but he is truly in communication with celestial beings.
Well, after that, the novelty of that wears off after a decade or two, because after a while it's like, okay, fine, you made first contact, but what have you done for me lately?
Besides that, after 2 decades, you got another Pope for sure.
Pretty much. And I have some fun with that later on in book 4 and 5. But the main impact in this world for the first book or two is mostly a matter of, yes, the Renar have made contact with the Pope, and their culture was very much Aristotelian in nature. They had better science than Aristotle, and they're looking at a lot of St. Thomas Aquinas, who, built off of Aristotle, and they went, okay, this is interesting. We'll take this home. Our religious people will be interested in this. Thank you very much. Um, although there is some problem with some of the Renar converts. Their teeth are basically made of something similar to marble. So whenever they have wine, the teeth kind of degrade. So, it's like, okay, we need to work around that.
Does it have to be fermented grapes? Can we go with some other drink? I mean, scientifically, we can't really see anything.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of fun, though. I like the idea of aliens adopting Earth culture. In fact, it's one of the main reasons why I really enjoyed watching Alien Nation, the television series, when it was on, because it was all about that whole, hey, we're newcomers, we're Americans, refugees. We've been here for a while, but yeah, we're still not quite figuring things out here. Much as we try, and much as we have inculcated ourselves into all levels of society. You say they took it back, but do any of them stay? I mean, it's like, hey, I like this planet. I'm going to stick around for a while.
There is overlap. There is. I don't want to say cross contamination, but yeah, some do stay after a while. But again, that doesn't happen for for the first 100 years or so.
All right, and I would assume the other direction as well.
Oh yeah, they're about for the first. Well, for the more recent time period, about 100, from 2260 to 2360, about a quarter to a third of even the Totentans are human.
But it is a mixed group.
It is a mixed group, and it becomes a source of tension later on during the book series, because the current cast of soldiers have decided, no, the Totentans have too many humans in them. We're pulling out all of our soldiers.
Okay.
And one of the members of White Ops decided, yeah, my parents were in this since the beginning, or near the beginning. No, I'm staying. So he changes castes. So he winds up becoming.
That's what you need is a totem tongue supremacist, kicking things around, which is definitely something that would happen if we started meeting and mingling with aliens. So there is a race of aliens that we have now met. They found us. We didn't find them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming that after they have found us, they help us make it easier for us to get to them later, or do we just kind of like keep sitting around waiting for them to show up again sometime?
It's mostly we have to sit around and wait, because they're not going to say, hey, we're going to help you with your technology. It's like, yeah, and all these patents start coming out of the Vatican. That's not going to look fishy at all.
No, not at all. But they're not going to leave the keys to one of the ships and say, hey.
Yeah, no, they have to account for those things on the budget report.
Fill it up when you're done.
Yeah. It's basic. The Renar are basically a 4-caste system. It's kind of the late Middle Ages, where it's, you've got your peasants, your priests, your soldiers, and your merchants. And the merchants are a pain in the ass because, like a quarter of them are accountants. And so it's like, wait, I'm sorry, you left a ship behind? Do you know how much those cost? Sorry.
Well, the Renar do have the priests, and they are an Aristotelian society, and they find rapport with the Pope as being the leader of the world, because it's like someone they can relate with. So there is a similar belief structure on their world, then, not just with the philosophy of Aristotle, but also with religion itself, the Catholic Christianity aspect of it.
Well, they have a monotheistic religion that springs out of their natural philosophy, but it's mostly a matter of, well, where do we go from here? And they're basically advanced Aristotle with better science, but it's, what's the next step? And,
Okay.
they see, this specific monotheistic religion with a very similar philosophy, and they're going, okay, we can kind of see this. This makes an internal logic with what we have, which later on will lead to conversion.
Yeah,
in
because I was going to
fact,
say their philosophy through their philosophy they have deduced a singular creator of things, but their planet, their history doesn't have any messianic intervention.
no, not
That we
really.
know of. Okay.
Not that we know of.
So no sin on the Renar planet needing cleansed. It's they stayed apple tree untouched.
They have a lot of similar rules that they don't see as particularly religious, but almost every culture, even on Earth, will have rules and regulations.
Rituals.
Not necessarily the same exact rules and regulations towards sex, marriage, homicide, filial loyalty to your parents, that sort of thing. It's all different, but there are rules established. And they logic their way to what they have at the moment, and what we have makes sense to them.
So the aliens that do come to invade are they a species with which the Renar are previously familiar? And they're like, hey, these are bad dudes. Let me tell you how they work. Let me tell you what they do. Or are they a surprise to both species?
The first wave in White Ops is actually a race called the Pharmacoi. Yes, yeah, I did steal it from the Greek word for pharmacist, but that's another conversation. And the Pharmacoi they had been a pain in the butt to the Renar for a few decades. They're annoying, but what can you do? And then, seemingly overnight, the Pharmacoi have technology on par with the Renar. And everyone's busy fighting the Renar, fighting off the Pharmacoi invasion, and very few people are giving a lot of thought to where did this technological leap come from? And my hero, Sean Ryan, who is already a Totenton, one of the Totentons, is looking at this going, okay, there are what, 2, maybe 3 different reasons we can think of for how they got this technology. Either 1, they found it. But what are the odds that they would have been able to reverse engineer it this fast?
Yeah.
2, they were given this technology, which is a problem, because why would somebody give away technology like this? Well, in Earth's history, the British Empire would give out technology to the people loyal to them locally, so they could be foot soldiers in the new colonies,
right?
Which means the Pharmacoi are working for somebody else. And if we continue with this particular analogy, the Pharmacoi have muskets, comparatively.
Right.
So what do the people behind them have technologically? So, this is one guy who's hitting the alarm bell and starting to invest in new technologies because he's trying to fight the next war before they're even done with the Pharmacoi.
And there is somebody behind them, I'm guessing. It'd be like if street gangs suddenly, had military-grade submachine guns or something.
Well, more like mortar rounds. There are there are some street gangs that already have rocket-propelled grenades, which drives me crazy, but that's another conversation.
Okay. Well, let's just widen the gap then. It's like giving the Maori tribe a nuke.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
So do you have an arc in mind for White Ops as to how many books this is, or have you already done the we've beaten the Pharmacoi, now we're doing the next arc with Disney Planet and whatever other threats might come to pass, or how are you working that?
I've got a complete 13-book series laid out. The original draft of this was, how do I put this? Originally, the books were in the format of vignettes. They were basically a bunch of short stories strung together. And Main Street DOA had been one short story that was about 35 pages long. And now it's 350 pages. So there will be other books springing out from later editions. And what I have at the moment, the first 2 books are self-contained. Even Main Street DOA is self-contained. However, there are seeds sprinkled throughout the books that will turn into whole books by themselves later on.
That's the best kind of long arc, is where everything is its own story, but there's stuff going on. We've gotten. I hate that shows don't have that element anymore. It used to be, I watched Criminal Minds when new episodes were still coming out, and every episode was its own thing, but there's still this longer arc going on. And now with things like Netflix series, we're so used to long form storytelling now that we can't get a story in an hour. It takes 13 hours to tell the story from beginning to end.
Yeah, I kind of hate those.
Yeah, and it's infected our movies, made them longer. It's infected our comic books. We can't get a single issue story anymore. No, what's your contract? 100 issues? Wow, must be a good story.
Yeah, sorry, you say that, and all I could think of is Tom King's run on Batman.
100 issues. They had to kill it.
And they
and
killed
it was not a good story.
Yeah, exactly. By the time, I think he burned so many bridges with, what was it, by issue 50 of his run.
Oh,
it's like, yeah, let's just build up this whole Batman Catwoman wedding thing and then screw everybody. We're just going to not have it happen.
Well, the retailers were pissed because the retailers were told, wedding issue, schedule events, hang the posters, and then the retailers find out from their customers before the books are on the shelf that they bought that, oh yeah, the news came out that he's left standing at the altar. There's no wedding. Boy, my LCS guy, Michael Tierney in Little Rock, was upset because, and he knew others that were as well, because when Superman died and they said he's going to die, by golly, he died.
Yeah, and that's the difference between comic books now and comic books 30 years ago.
Oh, but I saw a ray of hope for DC Comics today. Warner Brothers has brought back Jeff Johns.
He's taking over?
I don't know about taking over, but I've got to research it more. All I know is that, because I was in the office today, but I kept getting tweets and notices like, Jeff Johns, Ray Fisher upset. Jeff Johns back at DC, Flashpoint 2 or Flashpoint Beyond coming. So with Jeff Johns back, I need to get him on the show because I have so many questions about other stuff. I seriously believe he started writing Doomsday Clock and then was told what the ending was going to be and had to throw out the rest of the script.
Probably.
Yeah, because what was hinted at and what we got were 2 different things entirely. And same with Three Jokers. That three Jokers did not deliver. If you read Three Jokers, yeah, there were 3 Jokers. There were like 7 Jokers. There were dozens of Jokers. And none of that, it all boils down to the one Joker, and none of that would have confused the Mobius chair 20 some odd years ago. 20 years? No, 10 years ago. Still feels like forever ago.
Oh, trust me. I'm trying to remember the last time I read comics, and it's like, oh yeah, that's when JMS gave up on Amazing Spider-Man, and it takes me a while to remember. That's 17 years ago now.
Yeah, it is. I can't remember the last time I read a DC Comics, and when the last one I bought was New Teen Titans annual number 2 as a back issue, because I wasn't finding anything new anymore. In fact, we have our annual Best of Awards, folks. If you go to criticalblast.com, you'd find the link there to vote for the best movies, everything else of 2021. Not a single DC title on our best comics list for the first time in 8 years. As far as the nominees go for selection. Now, if you've got one you want to write in, go for it. But
seriously, what have they done lately?
I don't know. Death Metal Who Laughs or something. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Well,
And they canceled Wonder Girl, which was supposed to be their salvation.
yeah, because the last time I heard anything out of DC Comics headlines was, yes, Wonder Woman's a lesbian or something stupid like that. And it's like, okay, congratulations, you have just gone into the realm of slash fiction. And if I want that, there are websites that do fan fiction. In some cases, better than some of the weirdness we get.
Yeah, I mean, almost the entire Justice League now has been converted. Obviously, Superman's son of Superman,
Oh,
who's now Superman on Earth. He
yeah.
come out as bi. Wonder Woman again. Well, I don't think Wonder Woman in the main continuity is. The Flash that they've got on the Justice League, a new Flash, is gender neutral.
Another one.
Aquaman is Aquaman's the former Aqualad, but not the original Aqualad, not Garth, but the new one. He's gay.
Of course he is.
It's at least 60% of the current Justice League is it's in disarray. So,
all right. Sorry.
so yes, Flashpoint 2 can't come soon enough. Reboot this sucker.
Yes. Now, if they could just reboot it so that the last, 15, 20 years never happened. I don't know where exactly I know for me, if I were to do something like Flashpoint to Marvel, I would go back to, okay, the first Civil War, that never happened.
Yeah.
And everything after that never happened. What would you be doing for your DC? Would you go back to the first Flashpoint or something else?
Well, I would just have Dr. Manhattan decide, yeah, no, this isn't working. Do it again. Because and I don't know, did you read Doomsday Clock?
No. Once I heard that there was going to be overlap with Watchmen, my first thought was, nope, no thank you. Didn't even like Watchmen.
Okay, you didn't like but you did read Watchmen. So so the thing is, Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen, he sees time as a construct, as a solid. And he's like, I can't do anything to change anything. I'm just a puppet who sees the strings, blah, blah, blah. Very deterministic, nihilistic, predetermination kind of thing. And then he leaves and says, hey, I think, I've come to like humans. I think we're going to go create some life. And walks into the orb. Now, my mind, and I'm sure that I know Jeff Johns thought the same thing, because he's proven it with all his other reboots of picking disparate threads of nothingness from DC history and turning it into, oh, that really meant something that we didn't know. There's an electric blue hand that creates the DC universe. We saw it in Green Lantern number 40. We've seen it in Crisis. But here's the thing. In Doomsday Clock, Dr. Manhattan talks about Superman showing up in 1938, showing up in 1945. He's always, making him show up at different times. He's always showing up. He is Dr. Manhattan exists in 1940 something when the train wrecks, and he moves the Green Lantern 2 inches out of Alan Scott's grasp so that there's no Green Lantern, there's no Justice Society. He's been changing things. Time travel is not one of Dr. Manhattan's abilities. Never has been. He can't change time. The only way that this is explained, and this is where I'm sure the plot got changed in midstream, the only way he can change time is if he says, nope, this was not a good idea, crumple it up, throw it in the wastebasket, start it over. Okay, now when I get here, make it a little different. He's writing the DC universe every time. It's his creation. It's the only thing that would have made sense in Doomsday Clock. And I would love to get Jeff to confirm that. But I don't know. That's probably just fan fiction, fantasy kind of thing. But damn it, I think hard on these things.
Hey, I swear there are some fan fictions out there that do think harder about the material they work on than some of the DC writers do, especially lately.
Oh, yeah. Wayne is done with the woke idea. Who isn't done with the woke idea? God.
Everybody's done with it, except for, politicians and people who are making money off of woke garbage.
And that's exactly what it is. It's making money. Every company now has a DEI department, which is just a book club. for it's all it is. Let's meet at lunch on Fridays. I'm like, I don't want to meet with you at lunch on Fridays. I want to have my lunch at my desk like I always do, so I can get out of here faster. See, but that's real life, and we don't talk about that here.
Understood.
So, in addition to St. Tommy and the White Ops, what other series are you working on, if any?
Oh, actually, I'm working on one right now. I've got a Patreon account, which is like, I think it's just patreon.com/Declan Finn, one word. But I'm actually working on a sequel series to what I laughingly refer to as my vampire romance novel. I say laughingly because most vampire romance books don't have, spec ops trying to kill vampires with RPGs and throwing Stars of David and missile strikes. Yes, thank you. I was happy.
I love that idea.
I liked it myself. And, we've got Vatican ninjas because, the people who know that vampires have been around forever are Catholic or Jewish, maybe a few other faiths that have been around that long, things like that. And it starts with, as I keep saying in my tagline, one is a heartless, bloodthirsty monster, and the other is a vampire. So,
yes, and they don't sparkle. And
funny with that. The first series, which was called Love at First Bite. The tag on the first book, when it was published by the first publisher, that publisher no longer exists. I gave them a stack of taglines. They picked the one I deliberately put in the middle, so not to influence the decision. And it was, "Welcome to New York City, where vampires don't sparkle, they burn."
I like that. I want a scene where a vampire is, I don't know, I picture him as a police vampire for some reason. Walking through a protest crowd, and a glitter bomb goes off, and it's just like, and he looks and says, "I look ridiculous," and brushes it all off. That would be my vampire.
Well, there are a lot of vampires who hear glitter jokes, and none of them react well to it. Although one of the lines is, and I don't know if I stole it from Larry Correa or if I read the book or if I read his books later, where the line was, "Yes, vampires only sparkle when they're covered in napalm." So yeah, that was fun. What I'm working on now is a sequel series, which is called Honeymoon from Hell, where the first series is we get, our guy and girl together. Sequel series is, yes, we have married them and their problems aren't over yet.
No, because he's going to outlive her. Just the nature of the beast, so to speak. Unless he converts her.
Well, there are ways around that. But that's a conversation for in the series. And unlike with St. Tommy, I don't outline this one, mainly because my original process was I'd fully develop the characters, I wind them up, I drop them into the story, and let havoc ensue.
There you go.
And in this case, it's mostly a matter of I had a general idea of what I was doing, and then it spiraled because, all these other characters had their own agendas. And what I'm doing now is I'm posting at least one chapter per week on the Patreon so that fans of mine who have been asking for a while just get copies of these straight up. And, they get them one chapter a week, although at current rate of speed, I may have to up that because, I'm on chapter 29 already of book 1. And at current rate of writing, even with editing, all 5 books will probably be out before book 1 is finished posting on Patreon.
Okay. Yeah, because if you're posting the chapters, does that limit your rewriting capability? I mean, a lot of times you get to chapter 17 and like, oh, wait, that doesn't work if I keep what I've got in chapter 4.
Oh, no, I cheat. I go back into Patreon and I will just copy, paste, and put the edits there, too. It's like, Yes, well, if this major plot point is a surprise to you, well, I cheated. But right now, a lot of the notes I'm taking are things I have to put in the first few chapters that come up in the last few chapters.
Yeah.
And there will be rewriting later on. The final edition that comes out will not be the edition that gets posted on Patreon.
All right. That brings us to the top of the hour here. So, Declan, appreciate you coming on here tonight to talk about different books you got. These are, of course, available on Amazon. Some of them are. I don't know if they all are.
They are.
Okay. Folks, Declan's Amazon page is listed right below the video here. So if you click on that, you'll take you to everything he's written that's published there. That is a Critical Blast affiliate link. So if you do go through there and pick up some books, you will be helping out the channel. No additional cost to you. Amazon is giving it to us as a thank you for passing you on to them. So, don't think that, we're giving you're getting a higher price by going through us and you're like, I'll just go to Amazon, type it in. Please help the channel out and click on the link instead. If you like the content tonight, obviously, consider subscribing or becoming a member. If you become a member, it's the cheapest level tier that you can get on YouTube. And we'll be so grateful and thankful that we'll send you an envelope with some Critical Blast swag in it that you can stick on things or hang on your keychain or pin on your jacket. Maybe all three. Depends on, how generous we're feeling that day. We always feel generous. Yeah, you'll get stuff. With that said, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here tonight. We appreciate you so much. We don't have a show without you being here. So thank you very, very much. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.